that preys on trust, destroys innocence, and hides behind silence. Grooming gangs represent a chilling betrayal of society's most vulnerable. When those meant to protect become predators, when communities suffer under the veil of fear, it's not just a failure of law enforcement, but a collapse of humanity itself. Namaskar. I am Suruchi Das and you're watching Ritam. Today, we expose a network of grooming gangs that foster in the country of United Kingdom. Streets of Rotherham and Rochdale in the UK have become a brooding grounds for these unhinged crimes. These groups are responsible for systemic exploitation, targeting young girls with manipulation, deceit, and unimaginable cruelty. The scale and brazenness of these crimes beg the question: how did institutions mean to safeguard children look away for so long? In recent revelations, critics like Elon Musk and global influencers have raised concerns about the lack of decisive action. Musk, himself known for his outspoken views on social media reforms, pointed to failures in addressing the misuse of platforms for grooming purposes. His call for tech giants to take responsibility has renewed the debate about online safety and corporate accountability. Let's look at the facts. Official investigations in the UK reveal that over 1,400 children in Rotherham alone were abused between 1997 and 2013 by organized gangs. Reports confirmed that many of the perpetrators came from predominantly Pakistani backgrounds. Authorities, driven by fears of being accused of racism, neglected their duties, allowing heinous crimes to persist. This failure wasn't just institutional, it was a moral collapse. A victim, abused by grooming gangs since the age of 5, reported the crime to CSE detective who shockingly questioned her consent. Like many others, the CPS refused to bring charges, leading her to expose the abuse on national television. Following her appearance, the police attempted to silence her. In response to the growing problem, over 550 suspects were arrested in 2023 as part of a crackdown led by former Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's Special Task Force. Grooming gangs, often linked to radical Islamist groups from Pakistan, have targeted young girls, subjecting them to abuse, trafficking, and violence, with little police intervention for years. But what drives such atrocities? These grooming gangs use calculated psychological manipulation. Victims are coerced into promises of affection or security, only to be trapped in a cycle of control, abuse, and threats. Social services and police forces have been criticized for failing to respond adequately to repeated warnings. And the question remains, where is the outrage? Why do some activist groups and politicians remain conspicuously silent when victims suffer in these cases? When high-profile tragedies dominate headlines, hypocrisy becomes glaring when selective voices emerge only in politically expedient moments. This silence erodes trust in those claiming to defend injustice. The role of Pakistan in this context also demands scrutiny. Many perpetrators have roots in Pakistani communities, raising uncomfortable questions about cultural norms that need confronting. Why hasn't Pakistan taken a more proactive stance in addressing radicalization and grooming practices within these communities? What's the cost of neglect? Every delayed action costs more lives. Institutions must prioritize victims, enforce tougher laws, and abandon political correctness when justice is at stake. Public vigilance and systemic reforms are crucial. This conversation must continue because the safety of our children demands it. For more such updates, subscribe to Ritam English. Jai Hind.